Hey, how's it going? I'm Patrick Giguère and welcome to today's video. So in this one I want to get into cryptocurrency. I have a viewer who's probably asked 2 or 3 times for me to get into cryptocurrency. It's PTD Ali, so here you go, man. So cryptocurrency is definitely a tool, a financial instrument of the future. But this is a pretty muddy topic, you know, and so many people want to become gazillionaires because they bought some coin or another for 50 cents a pop, and they want it to they want every coin to go to $1 gazillion in value. And you know, something I could do, I may do this in the future. What you can do is on the day of an IPO, you can create a birth chart. So the market opens at what, 8:30 in New York, 8:30 a.m. on any given trading day. So you make 8:30 a.m. the birth time, or 9 a.m. the birth time, and that's the birth chart, and you basically see how the planets transiting, you know, in real time are sitting over the birth chart and how they're affecting it. That's something I could do. I haven't gone and, you know, looked at all the individual coins and done that. Probably a pretty good topic that'll get me some views. I guess this is a more general reply to that question. So, yeah, cryptocurrencies are definitely the wave of the future as far as money goes. You know, Bitcoin, that's a tough one because it's the origins of it. It's like all the urban legends around Tyler Durden and Fight Club. You know, through the movie, Edward Norton's traveling around and people tell him all these urban legends about the guy who founded Fight Club, and they're like, well, they say he was born in a mental institution and he only sleeps 1 hour a night. You know, they don't know who the guy is, but everybody's heard stuff about him. And, you know, Bitcoin's even like that, where they say, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was Japanese, and he supposedly created the damn thing, and, you know, who knows? You can't really, have, there's really no IPO day for Bitcoin, because the history of it's a bit murky. So yeah, that one, it's tough to say. The other ones I haven't, you know, done birth charts for the IPOs and the whole bit. But I can say with confidence that cryptocurrency is the wave of the future. Now I say this because you look at the birth chart for America. Capricorn is in the 2nd house. And Capricorn has the dragon's tail, or Ketu, or the south node. So, and basically you put Capricorn in the 2nd house. 2nd house rules wealth, finance, money, tangible resources. Capricorn is the sign of government. And with the dragon's tail, or Ketu, in this house, this is basically, I'm talking about America here, this is basically America's past life karma. Wherever Ketu, or the dragon's tail, lands, that's your past life karma. So this basically says that Capricorn, sign of government, being in the 2nd house, basically means that it's almost like government is wealth and money and finance, but it means that this is our past life karma as Americans. You know, basically, you know, in America came from the old world. It came from Europe, and it was breaking away from all of old European institutions. So this is basically saying, yes, you know, your past was coming from old Europe, being ruled by money. Whoever has the gold makes the rules. And so whatever your past life karma is, whether it's a country, a company, an individual, your past life karma, where Ketu is, where the dragon's tail is, it's your past life karma, and it's a comfort zone, it's a wealth of wisdom and knowledge, but you can't stay there, you can't fixate on it. You basically have to leave that comfort zone and go to where Rahu is. And Rahu is your present life destiny, your present life karma, what you're here to live now. And America's dragon's head, America's natal Rahu, is in Cancer in the 8th house. So basically it's all about, we have to find our freedom and our comfort through transformation, through studying hidden things. Even through occultism, through understanding occultism. And occultism is not just astrology and energy work and all in magic, but it's the hidden side of the world. It's the laws of nature that are not very apparent. It's the power of the mind, the power of group thinking, the power of perceptions. So that's what we have to understand to find our sustenance and our freedom and our comfort. So it's like, we are kind of ruled by money and finance, but we have to get away from that and find our collective and individual personal power to find sustenance through the hidden side of ourselves, the hidden side of life, through understanding the hidden laws of nature, through occultism, through magic. So that's our individual and collective challenge as Americans. So anyway, that's the karmic axis for America. Now since Ketu, the dragon's tail, is up there in the 2nd house, up there in the top left, in Capricorn, it's at 15 degrees 51 minutes of Capricorn. So this plays into the future of cryptocurrency because transiting Saturn just this spring, winter into spring, passed, I think it was around March, April, transiting Saturn, transited into a conjunction and then passed America's natal Ketu. So transiting Saturn went through that 15 degrees 51 minutes of Capricorn. Now it's at about, I'm making this in June, what is it? It's June 8th. It's at 18 degrees of Capricorn and it's retrograde. So on August 4th, Saturn is going to go back and conjunct America's natal Ketu again. Now what's important about this, when you get Saturn, the planet of karma, the planet of divine order, the planet that rules the 3D, that rules the physical world, it's a planet of magic. It's a planet of justice, and not just like legal justice, but justice of divine law, of natural law. That kind of justice. And so when destiny, when natural law, when divine law sees something that's not worthy, that's corrupt, that's, unstable, it basically wipes it out. So, and what's significant about this is Ketu, the dragon's tail, it's the symbol for it, it's a body without a head. So a body without a head has no agendas. And it has no desires. It just wants no bullshit. It wants spirituality right now. And there's no illusions. There's no delusions. There's no trickery. It's just totally straightforward. No bullshit. I don't want anything. I just want spirituality. And I want to get out of this 3D world and go to the divine. And it cuts things away. One of the other symbols for Ketu is a blade, so it cuts things away. It's like a sickle blade. It's one of its symbols. So it cuts things away. So when Saturn karma conjuncts with this shadow planet, and Ketu is one of the eclipses of the moon, just like Rahu. when Saturn conjuncts with this, it's about a karma of loss. But it's all for a good cause. This karma of loss catalyzes a rebirth, fuels a rebirth. So, you have to lose, the old has to be torn down. You have to lose something to gain something new. A death has to occur for a rebirth to happen. So, with Saturn, let's see, how many times? It's going to be 3 times this year. Saturn will have passed over America's natal Ketu by the time 2021 ends. So it's basically like Saturn went by it once when it was going forward, and it said, okay, you're on notice. You need to rethink government, rethink finance, how all that stuff works. And then when a planet's in retrograde, it's all about going back and correcting things. So basically the first time Saturn went by when it was direct, before it was retrograde, back in like March, April, it was like, okay, you're on notice. You're going to have to rethink government, rethink finance, rethink money. Get it together. It has to change. It's fated to change. It's in your destiny. I'll be back. You better get it together by the time I get back, because during retrograde we have to review things and see what has to go and what's worthy of staying. So retrograde's back, goes back to that natal Ketu. Once Saturn gets back, it says, okay, did you get your shit together? Did you figure it out? Did you figure out what the new thing's going to be? Because you can't keep doing this old thing. That's basically what that's all about. And it's gonna sit there for a bit. It's gonna pass by, and it's like, okay, I'm coming back the 3rd time. You better get shit together again. So, and another thing too is like, Ernst Wilhelm is a Vedic astrologer that does a lot of research, and he talks about the Ketu castle in the Rahu jungle. So Ketu is the castle, the warm, comfy stronghold that's like impregnable. It's unassailable. It's a comfort zone we like to hang out in, but life kicks us out of there periodically. It makes us go and explore where Rahu is, where the dragon's head is, because that's our present life karma that we're supposed to be exploring and mastering, even though we have the least experience there. So basically, I'm losing my train of thought. And I have this going on incidentally because my Ketu is like 1 degree away from America, so I'm even going through a reordering. So this is all about a reordering. So whenever Saturn goes by a natal Ketu, it's all about you having to stop being your old self, yourself, your past life self that you came into this life as, and go be your truer, more authentic present life self. For people, it takes us like 33, 35, 36 years to really even begin figuring out who that real self is. It's like our first 18 years where we're kind of like our past life self. Then at age 18, where we're pressured into figuring out what we want to do with our lives, most people decide that they're going to be their past life self again. They set out with the intention of carrying out a life's work that is identical to the past life. And the universe doesn't let you just repeat your past life. So more often than not, we're 18, we're like, oh, I'm going to go major in pre-med and I'm going to be a doctor. It's like, doesn't happen for most people. Because it's like, that's what you did in a past life. You're not allowed to do that. It's like who's actually using their major? That's why. It's because at 18, you're too young to know what you want to do. You're still who you were in your past life. And you need to get your feet wet in this life to figure out who you are. So, yeah. That's pretty much the deal with that. So, because Saturn is doing these flybys of America's natal Ketu, it's making the Ketu castle cold. It's making the comfort zone cold. And just so we don't want to be in it as a country. And again, that comfort zone, America's past life is all about being governed by wealth and money and those who have 99% of it. Capricorn is all about obligations and sort of indebtedness, duty, where, the type of duty where there's no room for what you want out of life, for your freedom, for your desires, for your comfort, for what makes you feel good in your heart. It's just all about just suck it up and do your job and do what you're supposed to do what I tell you. That's Capricorn. Cancer, where America's Rahu is, where America's present life karma and destiny is, Cancer in that 8th house, that's all about doing what's in your heart and making you feel good. So, and I know this from personal experience. This is where my Rahu is. So that's what America's supposed to be doing with its life. We're having a near-death experience right now with this whole Wuhan virus thing where, basically over the past 30 years we've been turning into a colony of China. And, government has been puppeteered by, Wall Street for the past 100 plus years since the founding of the Federal Reserve System, and, the Fortune 500 has been puppeteering the government. This whole virus response was all about killing small business and bringing America under the control of the bigs, the big box stores, the big chains. It's not going to work. These fucking assholes are going to fall on their faces, but America just had a near-death experience. And the recovery's starting right now. This solar eclipse in Taurus in the 6th house is going to reveal who this country's real enemies are and blow the lid off some crazy information. Go check out my eclipse video too. Made it on the same day as this one. But yeah, so we're getting kicked out of this comfort zone of traditional finance where basically the bank rules everybody and rules the whole country, because that's how old Europe worked, where America came from, where the founders of America came from. And it's been 250 years worth of struggle to try to get away from that system, but I think we're going to do it and we're going to make it. So, and the whole point of this video, cryptocurrency is going to be one of the tools for this. And this, for there to be any amount of freedom to this, it's going to have to be the whole blockchain system everybody's talking about, where it's anonymous, it's untraceable, it's unhackable. That to me is America and humanity's highest financial destiny. Now, everybody wants this blockchain system to set in, to take over, next week, next month, next year. I don't think it's going to be that easy because, we were talking about Saturn and Ketu meeting up in Capricorn and, catalyzing this growth, where we have to leave where Ketu is and go to where Rahu is. Leave the obligation and the indebtedness and go to the freedom. Now also there with Saturn and Ketu is, the natal Ketu transiting Saturn is transiting Pluto. When Saturn and Pluto meet up, it's basically, Pluto's the god of the underworld, and Pluto has like this drilling, digging quality. It's all about, because the god of the underworld is the god of the unconscious and the god of the unseen, and shows us things that we were denying, things that we were lied to about. So whenever Saturn and Pluto meet up in a sign, they basically do a house cleaning. So this house cleaning is going on in Capricorn, so government for the whole world, but then finance for America because it's in the 2nd house. So when Saturn and Pluto meet up, they do their house cleaning, they do their retrogrades, they conjunct a few times, they go back and forth. Then they go direct, and Saturn leaves Pluto behind, because Pluto takes 240 some years to do one orbit. Saturn takes about 32, 33. No more than 36. Yeah, it's about 33. So they don't meet up again anytime they meet up, they don't meet up again for another 33 years. So Saturn and Pluto are going to be, they're going to meet up again in Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about, you know, everything being in its divinely ordained order, like its perfect order. That's the ideal of Aquarius anyway. You know, the dark side of Aquarius can be like a financial, technocratic, utopian, dystopian hell that's sold as a scientific utopia. But the ideal for Aquarius is divinely ordained, sort of utopian kind of a thing, like a genuine one that's very scientific too. So basically, Saturn and Pluto won't meet up again until they meet in Aquarius for like another 30 years. So everything that's the Capricorn house cleaning that has been going on for the last year and a half or so, that is not going to be fully complete for another 30 years until Saturn and Pluto meet up in Capricorn. So, in my opinion, to really be on that secure anonymous blockchain system, you know, where you're not getting a quarter to a third to a half to 75% of your income stolen by the government, to where your financial transactions are not all being surveilled by, you know, secret intelligence agencies through the computer systems. For the completion and fruition of that scenario, that's probably going to be about 30 years, I have to be perfectly honest. But we will see cryptocurrencies taking hold sooner than that. I think 2021 is going to be the start of a significant economic depression. Cryptocurrencies are inevitably going to be part of the new system because we can't keep the old system going, because on top of Saturn, the transiting Saturn and America's natal Ketu conjuncting this year multiple times, this is also a Pluto return for America. So Pluto is going to go back to the 6 degrees of Capricorn when America was born. So this basically means you have no choice but to reorder government and reorder finance and reorder this whole system where kind of finance is the government. Money and finance is the government. So the reordering and kind of the rebirth is inevitable. And Pluto does deal with, you know, kind of like rebirth, death and rebirth, and, you know, this like returning from the underworld and arising from the underworld, because Pluto is the god of the underworld. So cryptocurrency is going to be part of that. You know, it's a move away from the bullshit paper money fiat system. Now, with all that said, you can't just get away, you can't just do away with the banksters overnight. You know, even if Donald Trump comes back to office and it's a big kumbaya, you know, and we get rid of the Federal Reserve. Or we're not going to get rid of the Federal Reserve. We're going to clip the Federal Reserve's wings and castrate it. That's probably what's going to happen. It's not going to be phased out overnight, because you can't just phase out a long-standing system overnight. That will cause like starvation and crazy food shortages and shortages of everything, and power shortages, and, you know, the water not running and no electricity and no fuel, and that'd be a huge clusterfuck. And that kind of scenario is not in the stars. So it's going to be phased out, because the banksters are the only ones that really understand how to make a giant financial system work, or at least marginally work. So yeah, it's going to get phased out Cryptocurrency is going to be part of it because, again, the Pluto return is going to force a death and rebirth in finance. And in about 30 years, by then, you should see like the blockchain system. So, yeah, that's my take on it. So that's pretty much all I have right now. I don't have anything on the specific cryptocurrencies, but, you know, do your research. But for the short term, I think the prevailing cryptocurrency is going to be one that the banksters, you know, the banking cartel, the member banks of the Federal Reserve System, it's going to be one that they control for the meantime, or at least the U.S. Treasury controls, but the Treasury is going to need money from them, and it's going to be something in the short term, and maybe for the next 20, 30 years. It's going to be like Mr. Robot, where it's like Elliot crashes Wall Street so that they can have this cryptocurrency revolution, but then E-Corp, you know, Evil Corp is the one that owns the cryptocurrency that everybody gets switched to. You know, they get off the US dollar and they go onto eCoin, which is, you know, Evil Corp's the one they own. So we're still going to have to deal with these people to some degree. It's kind of like at the end of Game of Thrones where Daenerys Targaryen's followers just wanted to kill everybody that had wealth and power that wasn't Daenerys, and just worship her. Well, Daenerys isn't going to rule, and neither are the Lannisters, but you're still going to have to deal with the dirtbags that know how to make the system work. It's like how when World War II ended, it's like the only people in Germany that knew how to make the trains and the power grid and the water grid run, and make the bank run, were people who had joined the Nazi Party. You still had to deal with them. You still had to make use of them. So it's going to be a similar thing with the financial system. So the banksters, you know, the Wall Street parasites, they're going to have less power, but they're still going to be part of the picture because they know how to make the thing run. So anyway, on another note, if you want to learn how this whole Rahu Ketu, you know, your present life, past life karma works in your chart, I highly recommend reading with me because that's one of the major topics I go into. And it's a roadmap through life. It teaches you how to stop being your past life self. And a lot of the time when you hit glass ceilings, when you hit walls in your life where your goals don't pan out, when things blow up in your face, things that you want to accomplish blow up in your face, it's because you're being your past life self, and you're not really being your present life self. So we go over that quite a bit. That's one of the main topics in an astrology reading with me. I also do rune readings. It's a great mind map. And I have some videos for sale for download, some Qigong videos. Qigong is a great mind-body practice. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and you'll be seeing more of me. Have a good one.